Hi everyone and welcome to IorgCast. As usual, we talk about various areas that are causing information overload and trying as well to bring some solution to it, right? To see, how can we tackle information overload in a different way. And today we have a quite interesting topic. We will discuss about digital and collaborative agility. What is it? And, to understand the scenario, and how is it related to information overload. And to discuss about it with us here, there are two of the, of course, steering committee member of IORG, Marc and Monica. I will start maybe with Marc, right? So tell us more about, give us the big picture about what do you mean by digital and collaborative agility?
We have been using email for a long time. We all experience huge, I think someone described it to me at some point as fire hoses of information coming towards us. And now we have a lot of other tools available that work, that are pretty stable. And these are tools that help us work collaboratively in the cloud, in real time, social media tools that we can communicate, we can share information, we can share rich views of information, we can work with information together. And I suppose the big picture is that everyone is somewhere along the curve of adopting these tools, whether you are in denial, which is one end of the curve, or whether you fully adopted and you're championing these tools, and everywhere in between. The benefits in terms of working with the huge amount of information in ways that are more intelligent, more collaborative, and allows for innovation and creativity that I believe people don't even realize is available, because they've never had tools like this. They've never had the ability to work in these ways. At some point in the future, and it's not too far away, everyone will be using them. Email is not going away for some time. It's still the most used tool.
And that's never a good thing, right?
It's old news now. It's old. It really is old news. It's not the place to be working on. The place to be working on are these new tools.
Mm-hmm. And one important thing as well to know is that perhaps, right, when like the environment has many tools, right, and the information, like devices are increasing, sensors are increasing, there will be more tools perhaps in the future, right? So in the moment when we are we mastered the new ones, I guess there will be new ones that we still don't know. So how to keep up with this? Or what would be, perhaps Monica, how would you keep up with in this way to face the continuous coming of new opportunities, new tools, new possibilities, to share and produce information?
Yeah, I think some of it picks up on what Marc is saying, because one of the things that I think organizations need to do is capitalize on people who are advocates of these new tools, whether they are people who've worked in the organization for some time, whether what I see a lot of is that they're new joiners. They may even be that dreaded word millennials, but they've got some kind of intuitive idea that these tools can be used. And I think how to keep up with it is about letting people like that become advocates. Turn it around a little bit. One of the barriers I see against perhaps people who've grown up in the digital era, and I would include myself in that, or pre-digital era, is you carry a lot of baggage that says these things were incredibly hard to use in the old days, prone to going wrong, and now the tools are just so easy. Sometimes you say to me, Lele, when we talk, oh, I've used so-and-so, so I will go off and look at that, and bingo, it's on my phone, it's on my computer, and I can use it. So I think the short answer is, how do you keep up You have to have an open mind. You have to be prepared to experiment. You need a few people you're working with of the same mind so that you can try them out, become an advocate, and gradually grow the circle of users, whilst at the same time making sure that what you do doesn't compromise the security and confidentiality within the organization. But it is about keeping up to date and scanning the horizon, and you can't leave that always to the IT department. I think that's the other key thing. It's you as an individual.
But all of this is causing, is not causing a lot of information overload, because one of the main conversation I was always having with, also within the company where I'm working, is like, we have now so many tools, there is too much. Why cannot we have one tool for all, right? It would be so nice, because then it's going to be everything easier, right? Because too many tools is causing, I don't know, I'm messy, I don't know where to find the information. So how to start reducing the overload and to find yourself always in the right place, Marc?
In order to keep up with the changing tools, we need to sort of change our mindset. IT is always going to change. And IT also sometimes is not going to work. That's just a fact. And we need to learn how to deal with that in a mature way. So learn how to use new tools very quickly. This is what I call digital agility. The danger is that we just use these tools like people use emails, and we sling information up there without any thought, thinking this is got to be a benefit. I think we need to agree ways of working, certainly with our teams that we're working with, and those can be the smaller teams and the larger teams, maybe with partners. What are the rules? What governance, if you like, the different levels of governance? Which tools are we going to use, and how are we going to use them? I think also what's important is to have like team leaders, someone who will moderate and just keep things in check, because otherwise things can get out of hand very quickly. People can get overloaded and you start losing the benefits. So part of being digitally agile is being able to, I sometimes call it, curate your information well. So curate it so it's really focused and it's going to be of value. And also you're able to innovate and be creative. So there's a line there. Yeah, I'm sorry, I know you don't, but drawing a parallel with email, the reply to alls and the huge numbers of unnecessary CCs, that is not creative. It's really not. There's not a lot of value in those. There's also something that I've come across is when, one of the barriers to adoption of these tools sometimes is people don't have them. You may be working in a team with external partners and they don't have access to the tool that you want to use. And that can be a great opportunity sometimes for collaboration, where you could choose someone to buddy up with those people and provide the information some other way. And that is about being digitally agile as well. The tool can't do it, that's the barrier. They can't do it for everyone. Well, let's work around it for that person so they can still be in the team. We're still getting the relationship, we're still getting the collaboration. And maybe at some point they get a license or they get access, and then they can work with it.
But from the other side, I would say there are many tools now that allow external guests to be invited also for free, right? So in case you collaborate and you have that enterprise license for that tool, but even free tools. I mean, we talk about Trello. Trello can be used for free for at least 10 boards. So you can do a lot of work with that for free. It doesn't work, the tool, a collaborative tool, if there are no people to collaborate in, right? And there are no so many cross tools. Like there is not an option for you to use Trello to talk with a person that is using Slack, right? There is no way for doing it. The only thing that is really, unfortunately, the only thing that's really cross collaborating is still email, because all the tools send a notification to the mail, right? And that's where email is still kept alive, right? With the artificial breathing because of also the other tools and the notification. So it's becoming a notification system, perhaps more than a communication tool. Monica, so now we have a lot of tools, so it's good to keep experimenting, right? It's good as well, what Marc said, to keep learning, so as well to have someone that can teach how the tool can be used properly, but also someone that defines the rules of conduct, right? How to use it in the best way, and not to, because everything can be used well or not well, right? But when I have this, so where should I start, right? How to get started from tomorrow to have a different collaborative agility in my environment.
Have a focus group where we will look at what are the challenges. And so thinking outside the box is in some ways, Marc has touched on it, is from those challenges, which can we manage very effectively with email? And it might just be that somebody doesn't know how to use the BCC box in email to stop all the reply all. But it may be that there is something else which says, wait a minute, if we actually stepped completely outside the box and looked at that process and look at what we're doing, there is another way of doing this that say, okay, this is the problem. Email is really not the right tool. What else is out there?
And do I need any particular skill for doing all of this? Like, do I need to study or have a special job role, or is for anyone?
In some way, though, an intuitive knowledge of IT, I can't give it a better word, just see it and think, oh, it'll work this way. I mean, all the tools have lots of hidden features.
Mm-hmm.
And as Marc said, without you giving us coaching on Trello, but the basics to get it going is easy.
I think the best thing that I've ever done, right, to learn this kind of instinctive tool for myself was to install a Linux version operative system in my laptop, right? So I had a Windows laptop, and I just put Linux, and then trying to do everything I was doing before with that. And it requires so much of going on forum and searching, updating, and doing that. But eventually, I even wrote my university thesis there without any problem, right? And that actually gave you, at least to me, an idea of where to look, how to find that. That was super cool.
But I think it's also important to remember the sort of behavioral objectives or the behavioral needs. What is a good team? How are we going to collaborate? And then how is the tool going to best support us? And then how are we going to best use this tool? How do I use this tool?
But maybe I find sometimes situation, right? Resistance. Somebody says, why should I change? Why should I not use email? Instead, I should change and, do the effort to use different tools, right? So to this, what would you answer? Like, why?
Well, I think a few things. One is that those, it's the way we are going. It is the way we are going. Collaborative tools are the future. There's no question about that. So we've got to get on board. That's number one. And then to look at, okay, well, where's the resistance coming from? Is it the technology? Is it resistance to change, which is, there's lots of work around how to deal with change. And this is just some other type of change. I think working collaboratively in the cloud is something very different to anything we've ever done before with technology. Mm-hmm. And it's not only using the technology, it's, as I said before, it's changing our mindset. So you start small and you start manageable, because too much information with a new system is overload, and that will be a barrier, and it will be a huge barrier to someone who is reluctant to start using these tools in the first place.
I'd give them a copy. I reached out. I'd give them a copy of Who Moved My Cheese. It was written 20, 30 years ago. You said, how do you deal with the resistant people? life changes and they suddenly find they're not part. And I'm sorry, I agree with everything that Marc has said, the whole underlying, I just took that as slightly read, what makes a team work. But I think you overcome the resistance by the people who are not part of it suddenly feel left out.
Yeah. I have another question for all of you, right? So is there any possibility it goes wrong? So what are perhaps, in order to survive with this, you know, collaborative agility change, what are the traps to avoid?
I think one of the biggest ones is, and there's nothing new about this, that's the problem, is that you are wedded. In America, they almost praise failure, whereas certainly in the UK, failure is to be avoided at all costs. So one of the problems is if the pilot doesn't work, you keep on with it trying to make it work rather than have a failure. I think the others, Marc, in a way, has picked up on, you can help it not fail and be more successful by making sure everybody's on board, has the right skills. But at the end of the day, if it's not working, if you evaluate it and it's taken more time and it's not going in the right place, it's having the confidence and the right organizational culture, be a large or small organization, say, okay, that wasn't quite right, let's look at something else. And that doesn't happen very often.
Putting too much information, not having enough agreement about how we're going to use it. So to drown people in information just collaboratively, using these tools rather than through email. And I suppose the other trap is, how do you work as a team in the first place? You know, are you an effective team? And is there anywhere that you maybe need to do work on your team to work collaboratively? One way of testing that is see, how do you work collaboratively if you just got a big sheet of paper and did something collaboratively? You know, forget virtual. What are the barriers that happen there? What happens? What are the dynamics or the things that hold you back there? I think one of the barriers is, I mean, we're using video today. We're all used to using video. Some people still have a certain nervousness around using video. A meeting is any meeting, whether it's online, whether it's teleconference, whether it's video conference, or whether it's face-to-face. And to be as good at those types of meetings as you are at face-to-face meetings, so as good at virtual meetings as you are.
I've had meetings from the train. I've had meetings from the highway when somebody else was driving. I had it from the cafeteria, from the middle of a field, right? And that was okay because of devices, and 4G connection is always there. And there's never a problem of connectivity. The only problem is to have that application installed on your device, right? Because if you don't, let's say, I don't know, we are using Zoom for recording this, right? And if I want to call you and I send you the link to Zoom and you don't have the app, then you need to download the app. So you click download the app and setting up, perhaps put in your username and password. And this maybe takes those five minutes, no more. But these 5 minutes will are increasing our level of laziness in doing it. So if you're ready, and you can have many apps in your mobile, right? So just have those you're using with your peers, at least. That makes it easy.
And this is part of learning how to use the technology effectively. So being ready to spend the extra time, the extra 5 minutes, being prepared. Also, I have to say, some people, they do have problems with bandwidth. It may be where they live. It may be where they are at that time. They may be on a train or something like that. And, you know, work around that. Have ways to work around that, even if it's you get a recording or you join later or you rearrange the meeting.
So where to go from here, Monica? How to move forward?
One of the problems I see in moving forward is people layer up the different technologies. Instead of saying, okay, let's actually abandon internal email as a team of 6 for the next week and see how we get on. So moving forward, one of them is looking around and seeing, is there some new piece of technology that is really looks like it might be of use? The second comes back to saying, if so, let's not layer it on top of the existing channels, because in a lot of companies I see instant messaging, some or other form of SharePoint, Teams, and then you've got multiple instant, you've got information overload and you don't know where to begin. So it's about saying, which is the thing that we really think isn't working, let us replace that and see how we get on with it. And then see, do we maybe need to use email for sharing something that's highly confidential and that maybe only one other member in the team should see? Perhaps it's going to be something that everybody sees. If everybody sees, it would breach the Data Protection Act, GDPR.
So let's at least start, right? Let's try to imagine a different way of collaborating with each other. And it's perhaps the first step is to just meet and say, okay, and highlight the things that don't work. Okay, what is not working in our collaboration? Yeah, you are sending always that long stuff with everyone, right? You are sharing too many files. And then choosing the best, right? And there is always someone around you that has perhaps more knowledge. And if not, you can send or contact IORG. We are here as well to provide any advice. Why not, right? Marc, what would you do?
But start small, start manageable, and start with something that you can clearly see the benefits with. So for a sales team, it may be a prospect list. Simple as that. Sales figures, very, 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 very easy, or customer support statistics, or something that you're looking at together and evaluating together on a regular basis. But start small and get your rules set up, get your agreements, and like with anything, create a culture of continuous improvement. Like you said, Lele, what's working, what's not working, what can we improve? So evaluate. And the other thing is, do remember when you start doing this, after a year or so, the information is going to build up and there's going to be a lot of it. So make sure that the structures that you put in place to begin with, they're going to be fit for the future, because it's quite difficult to unravel this stuff in the future.
So thank you so much for sharing and for bringing this topic to our audience. And if you have any more questions, you can always post. I mean, you will see this video on YouTube, you will see it on Facebook, maybe or LinkedIn. Just post the comment below or reach out to us for anything more or for suggesting new topics or new question you might have. This concludes IorgCast of today. Thank you so much, and let's all reduce information overload, because it's very painful to have too much, right? So, ciao. Thank you.
Thank you.